All right, Capricorn listeners, let's jump into March 2025 and see what's happening for you.
Yeah, it's looking like a pretty dynamic month.
Dynamic, how so?
Well, there's this interesting interplay between home life ambition and a little bit of cosmic chaos thanks to Venus retrograde.
Venus retrograde. Okay, so before we get into the details of the forecast, can you give us a quick rundown on what Venus retrograde actually means, especially for a Capricorn?
Of course. So Venus is all about beauty, harmony, values, and all the good stuff. When it's retrograde, it basically appears to be moving backwards from our viewpoint here on Earth. It's not really moving backwards, though, just an illusion. But symbolically, it's a time to kind of turn inwards and reevaluate those areas.
Yeah.
Venus rules. And for you, Capricorn, this retrograde is happening in Aries, which falls in your 4th house. That's home, family, foundations.
Okay, Venus is going backward in Aries affects my home and family. So what does that look like in everyday life?
Well, it can manifest in a few different ways. You might suddenly feel like redecorating or decluttering. Maybe some old family issues resurface. Or you start rethinking your whole living situation.
Got it.
It really asks you to look at your foundations, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Like, are you actually comfortable and supported in your space?
That makes sense. I mean, Capricorns do love a good project, so redecorating or organizing sounds right up our alley. But I'm guessing this Venus retrograde could also bring up some emotional stuff, particularly with family.
Oh, absolutely. It might stir up those old patterns or bring up things that haven't been resolved. It's important to be mindful of how you communicate and, approach these situations with that Capricorn practicality and diplomacy.
Right. Not about ignoring things, but facing them head on.
Exactly.
Okay, so Venus retrograde in Aries is shaking things up at home. What else is happening in March?
Early March also brings Mars moving through Cancer.
Oh,
This lights up your 7th house of partnerships.
okay.
So think romantic relationships, friendships, business partnerships. It could bring a nice boost to those connections.
Capricorn charm in full force.
Maybe even
I like it. But before we get into all that, I'm curious how this Mars transit interacts with Venus retrograde. Could that cause any tension or conflict?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
See, on one hand, you've got Venus retrograde telling you to focus on your home and family.
Right.
On the other hand, you've got Mars in Cancer pushing you to connect with others and nurture your partnerships. So it can definitely create a push and pull.
So finding that balance between solo projects at home and making time for loved ones.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot.
Makes sense. Anything else happening in early March we should be aware of?
Early in the month, Mercury, the planet of communication, is cruising through Pisces. And that highlights your 3rd house of communication, local community.
Oh, interesting.
This could boost your communication skills, make it a great time for brainstorming, networking, or just catching up with people. This transit might also spark your curiosity, so maybe you pick up a new book or explore a new hobby.
Not bad. So much for Capricorns being all work and no play.
Right.
Okay, so lots going on in early March. Venus retrograde in Aries focusing on home Mars and Cancer energizing relationships. Mercury in Pisces boosting communication. Sounds like a month for both introspection and connection.
I'd say so.
Before we move on to mid-March, can we just touch on some core Capricorn traits, as a refresher?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Capricorns are known for practicality, ambition, and discipline. You're the quiet bosses of the Zodiac, always with a plan and a killer work ethic, but you also have this dry wit that keeps things interesting.
Responsible, reliable, but we know how to have a good time. Got it. Now, are there any signs that just naturally vibe with Capricorn energy?
Well, every sign combo has its own thing, but Capricorns tend to get along really well with other Earth signs, like Taurus and Virgo. Taurus, with their stability and love of comfort, can create a sense of ease with Capricorn. And Virgo, with their attention to detail and practicality, you guys can be a real power couple when it comes to achieving goals.
It's like finding your cosmic work buddies. Then, of course, there are the signs that are a bit more challenging, right?
Well, every sign has something to offer, even if the dynamic isn't always smooth sailing. For example, fire signs like Aries, with their impulsiveness, can sometimes clash with Capricorn's more measured approach.
I can see that being a bit frustrating for a Capricorn who likes to plan things out.
Right.
But maybe it's good to step outside that comfort zone sometimes.
Exactly. Even those trickier connections can teach valuable lessons. Like maybe a fiery Aries can teach a Capricorn to be more flexible and adaptable.
That's a good point. So we've got Capricorn personality, some cosmic compatibility. Now let's get into mid-March. What are the key themes?
Mid-March sees the sun moving into Pisces. This is going to illuminate your 3rd house again.
Yeah.
Communication, short trips, siblings, all that fun stuff.
So are we all turning into chatty Cathys overnight?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But it does emphasize communication during this time.
Hmm.
Express yourself clearly, connect with people on an intellectual level. You might feel drawn to writing, teaching, or sharing your knowledge in some way.
And with Mercury still in Pisces, that communication flow is amplified even further, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And remember, this is building on what started earlier in the month. So maybe you revisit a project or conversation from early March and see it from a fresh perspective.
Okay, communication is key. What about Venus retrograde, still causing chaos at home?
It's still a factor for sure. Just continue to be mindful of your communication at home. Avoid making any impulsive decisions, especially big purchases or financial stuff.
So no splurging on that new couch just yet.
Probably a good idea. Retrogrades are all about slowing down and reassessing.
Right. Patience is a virtue, even for a driven Capricorn. Anything else happening in mid-March?
Mid-March also sees a surge of energy directed toward your ambitions, thanks to a favorable aspect between Mars and Pluto.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
This is your time to shine, Capricorn. Use that boost to power through your to-do list, tackle challenging projects, and just showcase your skills.
Time to channel that inner boss energy.
Oh.
Okay, so mid-March is all about clear communication, navigating Venus retrograde at home, and making some serious power moves in our careers. I'm feeling motivated already. Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's look ahead to late March. What can we expect as we head into spring?
Late March brings a shift in focus back to your home and family as the sun enters Aries on the 20th. This activates your fourth house once again. You might feel more introspective and focused on creating security and stability in your personal life.
Interesting. So we start the month focused on home and family thanks to Venus retrograde, then shift outward towards our ambitions, then circle back to home as the month ends. It's like this cosmic dance between our inner and outer worlds.
Exactly. And this dance highlights a key theme for you, Capricorn, in March 2025. Finding balance.
Balance between
Balancing your ambition with your need for rest and connection. Your desire for success with the need for a solid foundation.
something all Capricorns can relate to. We love to work hard and achieve, but it's important to remember we need to nurture ourselves and our relationships too.
Absolutely. And that's something we'll explore further in part 2 of our deep dive. We'll be looking at the new moon in Aries on March 29th and how to use that energy to create a fulfilling and authentic life.
Sounds like we have even more to unpack. We'll be back soon with part 2 of our deep dive into your March 2025 forecast. Capricorn, stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive, Capricorn. We left off talking about that cosmic dance between your inner and outer worlds. I'm ready to dig into this whole balance thing. How do we actually make it happen?
Well, the cosmos does offer some help with that, especially in late March. We have a new moon in Aries on the 29th, right in your fourth house.
Fourth house at home, family roots, all that. But remind me what's so special about a new moon. It's different from a full moon, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Full moons are about culmination, and new moons are about beginnings. It's like hitting the reset button. A great time to set intentions, particularly in the area of life where that new moon is happening.
So this is our chance to really focus on what we want to create in our home life family relationships, even just overall inner peace.
Exactly. It's a chance to tap into that fiery Aries energy and initiate positive change in your personal life. It's about taking action, being assertive about your needs, setting boundaries.
Assertive, setting boundaries. That could be a little tough for a Capricorn, especially at home where we tend to take on a lot. Any tips on navigating this energy without feeling overwhelmed?
That's a great point. Capricorns are natural caregivers. You put others first. But this new moon reminds us that self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. You can't pour from an empty cup.
So what does self-care look like for a Capricorn during this new moon? Bubble baths and face masks or something different?
Could be those things, that's your jam. But for a Capricorn, it might be more about creating a structured schedule with downtime built in, delegating tasks to others, or simply saying no to things that drain your energy.
It's about that order and control we love, but applying it to our well-being, not just the to-do list.
Exactly. And don't forget, with Venus still retrograde in Aries, it's a good time to revisit self-care practices you may have let go of. Maybe those long walks you used to love, or taking 10 minutes to meditate.
Recommitting to those things that help us feel grounded. Okay, this is all great advice. But with Venus retrograde, I'm still a bit nervous about those conflicts you mentioned. Any advice on navigating tricky relationship stuff, especially with family?
Understandable. Venus retrograde can bring up old stuff, trigger those unresolved issues. The key is compassion, both for yourself and others.
Easier said than done when you're in the thick of it.
True, but this is where those Capricorn strengths come in. You're naturally patient and diplomatic. Use that to communicate your needs clearly and really listen to others. It's not about winning or losing, but finding a resolution that works for everyone.
So cool head and compromise.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to solve everything overnight. Some things take time.
Okay, feeling a bit better about handling those Venus retrograde bumps. But can we circle back to setting boundaries? Something I think a lot of Capricorns struggle with, especially with family tips on doing that in a way that's loving and respectful but firm.
It's a crucial one for Capricorns. You're so focused on caring for others, sometimes you forget your own needs. Key to setting boundaries is being clear, concise, and consistent.
Clear, concise, consistent. Love it. Can you give an example? Let's say a Capricorn always gets roped into planning family gatherings and it's burning them out.
Okay, so they could say something like, I love you all and I'm happy to help with the planning, but I need to set some boundaries. I'm only available to help with one gathering per month.
Direct, respectful, and sets a clear expectation. I think we'd be surprised how well people respond when you set those boundaries in a loving way.
People respect those who respect themselves, and setting boundaries teaches others how to treat you.
Great point. So we've got some good tools for navigating Venus retrograde and using that new moon energy. Any final thoughts on this before we move on?
This last week of March is powerful for you. Capricorn Sun and Venus retrograde in your 4th house. Strong emphasis on your inner world, your emotional well-being, your roots. Take time for yourself. Reflect on your needs. Connect with nature. Nurture your relationships. You're capable of creating a life that's both grounded and expansive.
I'm feeling that grounded and expansive energy. Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive. We're going to explore the power of manifestation, especially relevant for you this month, Capricorn.
Okay, we're back for the final part of our March 2025 deep dive, Capricorn. We've covered Venus retrograde, family dynamics, self-care, that new moon energy, and now this idea of manifestation. It feels like something a goal-oriented Capricorn would be good at, but break it down for me.
Yeah, manifestation really does vibe with Capricorn energy. Basically, it's about consciously creating your reality, through intention, positive thinking, and action.
So it's more than just wishing and hoping. There's a real plan involved. Exactly. It's about aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with what you want to achieve. And that's where Capricorns excel. You're already disciplined, determined. You set goals and work hard. Manifestation just adds another layer of intention and mindfulness.
So how does a Capricorn put that into practice, especially during March 2025?
We talked about setting intentions during that new moon in Aries on March 29th. That's a powerful time to get clear about what you want, whether it's career, relationships, personal growth, even just your well-being.
Right, getting specific with those goals. Not just, I want to be happy, but what does happiness actually look and feel like?
Exactly. And once you figure that out, write it down. Something about putting pen to paper really helps to solidify those intentions.
Classic Capricorns sitting with their planner, carefully crafting their manifestation list. But it's more than just writing it down, right? There's got to be some follow-through.
Absolutely. Writing it down is the first step. Then comes action. Break down those big goals into smaller steps. Ask yourself, what can I do today, this week, this month to get closer to my goal?
Okay, so it's like creating a plan for your dreams. Very Capricorn. But there's also a mindset piece, right?
Yet manifestation isn't just about doing, it's about being. It's about cultivating a mindset of belief and possibility, trusting that what you desire is achievable, and aligning your thoughts and feelings with that.
It's not just doing, it's being. It's embodying that energy of success, abundance, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And that can be a little tricky for Capricorns who are naturally more pragmatic. You might find yourself thinking, is this really possible?
Right, we can be a bit skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need proof before we fully buy in. Any advice on shifting that mindset?
Visualization is a great tool. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living that life you want. See it, feel it, experience it as if it's already happening. It helps to reprogram your subconscious and attract those experiences.
Visualization. Love that. No special equipment needed. You can literally do it anywhere.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Another tip, surround yourself with positive affirmations.
Like those motivational quotes everyone posts online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can create your own too. Write them down, say them out loud, stick them up around your house. The more you see and hear those positive messages, the more you'll believe them and start manifesting them.
So manifestation for a Capricorn is about combining that practical, goal-oriented approach with a positive, possibility-driven mindset.
You nailed it. Harness your strengths and add in intentionality and belief. And remember, manifestation is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, challenges and wins, but as long as you stay focused on your vision and keep taking action, you'll get closer to those goals.
This is great. I think a lot of Capricorns are going to feel really empowered by this. It's like taking our natural skills and adding this turbo boost of cosmic energy.
Exactly. And manifestation isn't limited to March 2025. It's a tool you can use anytime to create a life that's truly aligned with you.
Amazing. Well, Capricorn sounds like you have everything you need to make March 2025 a month of growth, transformation, and maybe even a little magic. As you navigate Venus retrograde, harness that new moon energy, and tap into the power of manifestation, remember you are capable of anything you set your mind to. Keep reaching for the stars.
The universe has your back. Trust the journey and enjoy the ride.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into your March 2025 forecast, Capricorn. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep exploring the universe within and around you.